I grab my phone. I did not grab my phone.
I gotta go do that. I'll be right back, Loretta.
I grab my phone. I did not grab my phone.
I gotta go do that. I'll be right back, Loretta.
I grab my phone. I did not grab my phone.
I gotta go do that. I'll be right back, Loretta.
I grab my phone. I did not grab my phone. Something's looping.
I gotta go do that. I'll be right back, Loretta.
I grab my phone. I did not grab my phone. Something's looping.
I gotta go do that. I'll be right back, Loretta.
Okay, I sure hope that I'm not like this meeting is being live streamed. Okay. Okay, I sure hope that I'm not like this meeting is being live streamed. Okay, I sure hope that I'm not like this meeting is being live streamed. Okay, I sure hope that I'm not like this meeting is being live streamed. Okay, I sure hope that I'm not like this meeting is being live streamed. Hi, folks. If you're here on YouTube, I don't know if I can see. Oh, it looks like three people are here. I'm gonna see if I'm still kind of getting used to getting back on live streaming, but
Hi,
let
folks.
me
If you're here on YouTube,
let me try to figure out
oh, it looks like three people are here.
how I can
I'm gonna
see.
see if I'm still kind of getting used to getting back on live streaming, but let me.
I'm gonna see if I can see your comments or
Still
anything.
kind of
There should be something
used
over
to
here.
getting back on live streaming, but let me.
There it is.
Let me
Okay.
try to figure out how I can see. I'm still kind of getting used to getting back on live streaming, but let me. I'm gonna see if I can see
Look at
your
this.
comments or anything. Should be something over there. Getting back on live streaming, but let me. There it is. Let me try to figure
Okay.
out how I can see. I'm still kind of getting back on live streaming, but let me. I'm gonna see if I can see your comments or anything. Should be something over there. Getting back on live streaming, but let me. Try to figure out.
Sorry, there's a lot of feedback and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I'm going to get it resolved so we can have a discussion today. Looks like only one person is watching now. I think I scared people off. Hi, John. Sorry, there's a lot of feedback and I'm not sure where it's coming from. I appreciate the feedback. I'm still, let's see. I've got the producer from One Great Work Network here. So I'm gonna see if anybody can help me with the audio settings. Hi, John. Sorry, there's a lot of Audio feedback. capture mic.
I appreciate the feedback. I'm still, let's see, I've got the producer from One Great Work Network here. So I'm gonna see if anybody can help me with the audio settings. Hi, John.
Let me see. Stop. Hmm. All right. Aaron is now telling me my audio is very low. I don't know. I hope that this is better. It appears that I have 3 audio
Aaron is now
settings.
telling me my audio is very low.
I know what I have to do. I need to do something over
I hope
here.
that this is better. It appears that.
Okay, I think this will work for now. Hopefully. I think the issue was what it was picking up YouTube and what I'm doing on OBS. So I'm hoping that this is going to resolve the issue. I'm looking at a couple of different screens here. Yeah, I have my YouTube up, so I just muted it. So thank you, John. I just did that. It took me a while to figure that was the case. I have been away from doing these live streams for, it seems like almost, I don't know, maybe it's been, when was the last time I did this? Maybe last September or last October. Yeah, so I think I fixed it now. And Aaron can tell me if the audio sounds clear, but thank you, John, for being here and letting me know that. It's good to see everybody, and I have been away. I will just say that the last year has been incredibly hard on me. And this is recording, so if you're not here live, because I kind of announced it last minute, but last year has been a really tough year. I lost my dog, I lost my cat, and there have been other things going on with family members that have just made my life kind of something that has not been, well, my life's still been pretty good overall. I'm grateful for a lot of things, but there has been many challenges. And, one of my dogs was really sick earlier this month. I just got off the phone with the vet, actually. So he's doing a lot better now. I work with a homeopathic vet, and he seems to be on the right course, but we're still trying to tweak his diet a little bit. But I wanted to thank you, Aaron, has just let me know that my audio is clear, I think, on Twitch. And another awesome One Great Work Network friend, John, has told me my audio on YouTube looks good, or I guess through YouTube. I've muted that. So I'm going to share my screen here, or maybe what I'll do is, gosh, I never know how to do this. Let's see if I can do it this way. Share screen. All right. And share screen. So I'm sharing my screen, and hopefully you all can see this. I am showing you 2 individuals, and I'll wait till I know that they're both in the screenshot. I'm showing you 2 individuals that I'm standing next to. Oh, thank you, Charlie, for letting me know. Yeah, it was losing my cat and my dog. It was, and they were both, I think they were both soulmates. My dog Willard died in August. He was about 17 and a half years old. And then my cat unexpectedly died on Christmas Day. It was just heartbreaking. Christmas morning, I woke up and yeah, he was struggling the couple of days leading up to Christmas. And but anyway, he passed away on Christmas 2023. So in 2023, I lost 2 animals. And I think after my cat died, I mean, I was depressed when my dog died but with him, for his last 6 months, I knew it was coming. So I was prepping myself more, but my cat, it just kind of came out of nowhere, and I was still not completely recovered from losing my dog. So losing my cat put me in a deep depression, and I was I just kind of shut down for probably about 5 or 6 months. It just hit me really hard. My animals, I don't want to say my animals, the animals I share my life with, animals are just these precious, non-egoic beings that I think we can really open up to and be ourselves with. And when you lose that source of love and just presence, it leaves a big gap in your heart. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit to explain my absence for the past many months. And I do apologize because oh, hi, Tad. Tad is here. I do miss connecting with everybody online and doing these live streams. But you all see on the screen, so I'm going to get back to what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. And I know somebody had emailed me some questions. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the YouTube chat box. That's where I'll be taking the questions for today. But I'm showing you two men that are incredibly important to me, and I consider them mentors, teachers, people that have taught me a tremendous amount of not just knowledge, but wisdom, spiritual insight. And I just want to just pause and explain my gratitude because, sometimes people struggle themselves. I know Mark Passio, he lost his father not too long ago, or I think just weeks ago, actually. And I know some people here know Mark Passio, and many people here know Dr. Morse. But I want to explain what I have learned from both of these men and why I honor both of them. So Mark Passio, he brought to my understanding the world of natural law. I mean, basically the law of nature and how we align with what the rules are of this incarnation. And this has been something that has just guided me every step of my life and has helped me make, sometimes I still make bad decisions, but I think we need to make these bad decisions. Sometimes it's karmically driven, our decisions that we make. And we have to experience certain things, but, you still want to attempt to make the best decision that is not going to harm any other sentient being. You don't want your actions to cause another being to suffer, to steal from them. And, these are guidelines we have to take to heart because how we exist in this incarnation is so important. I mean, what we're going through now as physical beings is setting us up for even greater things that exist beyond this incarnation. And I want to talk a little bit about Mark Passio, who is a vegan, and why veganism is so important, not just to me. And I'm not going to preach veganism because I honestly believe we cannot tell other people how to eat. And I think Mark was alluding that or recommending that or suggesting that that's how he aligns with veganism. He doesn't push it on to anybody. And he mentioned that he sits in rooms with others that are eating meat and he does not judge them. He lets others have their own free will choices, which is important. All humans have free will and all humans need to make the decisions that they need to make, and we are not here to judge those decisions. I'm a vegan and I believe Mark Passio is a vegan for the same reason, because we don't want our dietary choices to steal another being's life. We're not here to take from other animals, other living beings they want to live. And there's a lot of arguments. Okay, well, the vegan diet because of farming practices, put that to the side. There are ways we can make dietary choices that align with, some spiritual truths that, in the world of natural law, I don't want to say the world of natural law, but with natural law, it's stealing another's life when you're eating another animal. And sometimes, well, with that said, I don't want to go off track too much, but I wanted to talk about that because some people I've noticed get upset with Mark because they don't think he is as big of an advocate for veganism that he should be. And I think he is, but we have to stand by the alignment that we cannot affect another person's choices. So every human on this planet needs to make the decision whether or not, having a diet that is plant-based is something that they want to, do, a way that they want to live. I think it's a great way, and I love, living in alignment with a practice that is not harming other beings. It makes me feel good. I think it's good for the environment. I think it's good for, a lot of different reasons. And so, Rudolf Steiner, I'll share a little story about Rudolf Steiner that I had learned from another teacher of mine. His name is Dr. Robert Gilbert, who runs the Vesica Institute. I take several classes with him. He was sharing a story about Rudolf Steiner. And, Steiner, back in the early 1900s, actually used to counsel people because Steiner was incredibly wise. And people would go to Steiner and they would ask him questions like, well, should I, leave my partner, or should I take this job? Or, they would want him to make a decision for them. And whenever someone asked Steiner a question like that, Steiner would just sit back, cross his arms, and just look at them because he knew that that was not in his ability to direct someone else's life. Everyone has free will, and everybody has to make actions that they need to learn from. And that's really the gist of what I'm trying to get to, because we are meant to make mistakes in this life. We're not all meant to come into this incarnation knowing everything and being perfect every step of the way. Many people that are vegan today, that eat a plant-based diet today, didn't grow up that way. I mean, some people do grow up vegan, but not a lot. So we live and we learn. We make decisions based on how we come to know what is best for our way of life. So we have to let others come to these conclusions and these impulses on their own. People need to come to their own directive to be able to understand what is the best way for them to live. And so that, I believe, is probably a big reason why Mark Passio doesn't push veganism onto others. But yet he's not afraid to share that he aligns with the principles of veganism, a plant-based diet, of not causing harm to other beings. And he's not sharing that to tell others to do it. He's sharing that because he knows he's a teacher, and he's sharing how he aligns with the laws of nature. Not stealing another being's life. So I wanted to share that because I think that was an important thing that I have really picked up from Mark Passio, among many other of his teachings, but that was the most recent one. Because I think, back in the early days when I became a vegan, and this is like, I became a vegan in like the 2000s, like 2000, I think officially full vegan in 2009. Before that, I was vegetarian, but I think I still ate some like dairy-based products. But in my early days of veganism, I was a little militant, and, I kind of would guilt people into veganism. I would, share very disturbing videos, which, there are very disturbing videos, that influenced me. Like Earthlings was a big one that I remember watching in 2008. That really kind of made me cut off dairy. And then in 2009, I became full vegan. But I had to slowly get off, the last tidbits of animal products that I had in my diet. But I came to that on my own. And I made the decision to watch Earthlings. I read the books. I kind of drew my own conclusions, and we have to let others do that. Not everybody is there yet. And I know there are a lot of people that like to push their own diet, whether it's carnivore or omnivore or pescatarian, and we just have to let it be. But at the same time, express who we are and share what we are, and just do it with love and compassion. And that's all I wanted to say about that. But understanding natural law and what Mark Passio has and the many seminars he has given on a variety of topics. The most recent, if any of you watch his weekly podcast or live stream that he delivers, What on Earth is Happening, he touches upon different topics in his seminars that he's presenting. Like the one on communism and Nazism and how they're very similar. So there's just, I really recommend going into What on Earth is Happening, looking through all of his live streams, starting with number 1 and going to the most recent. I think it's a great study. There's a lot to learn from him. And, he did mention that he might be ending his podcast, or at least taking a break. And, that is his choice to do. I will miss it dearly, because I've watched every single one. And again, there's much to learn from this man who is incredibly wise. But I wanted to share that. And then the other man who has been so incredibly influential in my life, equal to Mark Passio, is Dr. Robert Morse, who has helped me learn about the nature of the human body, because I was coming from a very materialistic viewpoint of how the human body was organized and how it worked. And even though I believed in using herbs and supplements, and I thought that those were all great back in my really early days after I left medical school, it was like a whole, change in mindset when it came to how the body actually functions. And Dr. Morse taught me the true workings of the lymphatic system and how that correlates to the true cause of disease, interstitial congestion, where the tissues are trapping all of these acidic waste products, and they push up against the cells, causing irritation, inflammation, and then tissue change, which is what we see as, in the medical world, dis-ease, quote unquote. And, as you add more toxicity to the body does not benefit from that in any way, shape, or form. Toxicity in the form of things that allopaths introduced in the way of pharmaceuticals and injections of many sorts. But yes, Dr. Morse was incredibly influential in helping me understand those principles and really guiding me to become a health educator and eventually a naturopath. So both of these men, I just thought I would start my live stream today honoring them both, because I really do owe a lot of my understanding of life to their wisdom. And I know some people that watch my YouTube videos, some people know Mark Passio, some people know Dr. Morse. Not too many people that I know really know both of them. And I think a good, well-rounded way to understand health and morality and aligning with natural law is to really study the works of both of these men, because they are, um, they are initiates on this path of, how to live in this world. I do think they both are high initiates, and they are worthy of the time you can take to learn from them. So I just wanted to say that and share that. So with that said, I want to make sure I address questions that were emailed to me. I said I was going to give a live stream last Friday, but things kind of interfered with that. Go figure, when I wanted to launch my comeback. So somebody emailed me, and let's see if I can find the email. Oops, I can find it because all I have to do is go to the date. Okay. Oh, it was my other email address. No wonder. So I will pull up my correct email address that they emailed. That would help. All right. Okay, so the questions that I was emailed for the live stream. This was for last week's live stream, so I hope this person, I think he's okay with me sharing his name. His name's Gary. I won't say his last name in case he doesn't want me to share his name. But he had a few questions for me. His first question was, at this point, what's your general impression of the level of awareness among college students? Are they still fully mind controlled, or are some of them beginning to remove the blinders? And I will say to that happily that I think many people, not just college students, are becoming more aware of, what's going on in this world. Maybe not fully aware of all of the things that can influence humans on this planet. And I think even, myself, I'm not fully aware of everything that influences me, because I think there are levels of influence. I'm only aware of mostly the physical world, but there's the etheric, the astral, and the other levels beyond that, and I do believe there are spiritual beings in our influence. I think we're very rich in that respect. And like I said, I've been studying spiritual science type of courses with Dr. Robert Gilbert at the Vesica Institute, and it's really an amazing study to learn how one can know these other spiritual entities. I'll just put it at that. It's much of which what Steiner teaches, like in knowledge of higher worlds and how to know higher worlds. It's of that alignment of study. I'm a big fan of Rudolf Steiner, if you didn't realize. But anyway, coming back to college students, I think many college students are aware of what's going on, but here's the thing. They're aware, but there is fear with speaking the truth. I think that's the biggest detriment that influences college students. The powers that should not be have done an incredible job in creating this PC culture, this politically correct culture where people don't want to go against the grain. We need to support the next big thing, or the thing that they're pushing, whatever movement they're pushing. And you all see these movements everywhere. It doesn't take much to kind of see what kind of agenda is being put in front of your face, because it's in the media, it's in the schools. And I think people can sense there's something off with that, you know? But I noticed that I have not all of my college students, but I would say maybe in a given class of 24 students, one or two will talk to me after class and ask me something that makes me aware that, they've been questioning the norm. And I think that's good to see, especially since a lot of my students are going into allopathic medicine. And it is refreshing to know that we do have people that are still going into this medical field without the blinders on necessarily, but they're going in with a full knowing of what is happening in this world. Because even though I left the world of allopathic medicine, I think it's good that people in that world might try to change it for the good. I don't know what good can come from giving people toxins as a form of treatment, but I think that it's important that that we do have something like that taking place. And let me go back. I'll stop sharing my screen for a second. Let's see if I can do this on OBS. 1 second. 1 second. There we go. Hold on. Oh, goodness gracious. It has been a while since I have done the live stream. My tech skills. I'm taking Mark Passio's How to Be the True Media class. So the only downside is that I'm teaching in the evenings this summer. And so the first 3 classes, I'm hoping to get there. I might miss a little bit of it, but I'll be there for all of the other classes. So that's the only problem. So I might miss a little bit because of my teaching schedule, but I'll try to chime in as much as I can. But yes, getting back to these questions, I hope everybody can see me. Let me make sure the YouTube looks normal. Okay, it looks like the YouTube is normal looking. But yeah, that's what I'll say about the college students for your first question. And then your second question, are you still interested in being a college professor, or are you looking to move on and start your own business? Well, Gary, I, for a while, was making plans during the pandemic to, if I was going to be enforced to get a, to have something as a backup to fall upon. And I was putting a lot of time while I was teaching online during the pandemic to build my own business. And it was tough. People that have their own business, that's a lot of work. And maybe it is just a lot of work when you're trying to do that and a full-time job simultaneously. And it got to the point where I was just, I was taking this course in like how to do a variety of business types of practices. And I don't know, there was something about it. I didn't really like the whole business aspect of it. So I think if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do kind of what Mark Passio does, which is kind of why I want to take his How to Be the True Media course, to learn some of the skills of how to set up a website without having to go through, the standard websites that you pay a monthly subscription to, and you have to go, if you want to post your services, you have people go and have these merchant accounts. I don't really like any of that stuff. And I'm really thinking of doing, like I said, what Mark Passio does is he does all donations. So I think I'm going to switch to a donation way of providing my services. And I've noticed other people that I work with, even in the Dr. Morse group, they accept donations as well. And I really like that. And that way I can kind of offer a range of what people can afford to pay for my services, because I know there are many people that would like to work with me and they just can't afford it. And, depending on how I can make my account. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I'm on Twitch. I hope I didn't change things up so much that I'm not on Twitch anymore. But I think I want to do donations is what I'm getting at. All right. I'd like to do a donation type of platform. So I don't know if you would call that a business or not, but that's kind of my goal, is how to offer services, because it does help to receive donations to do my services just so that I can support myself. You know, the college I teach at doesn't pay very well. I'll put that out there. So it's not like I'm this big fancy college professor. I teach at a community college, and I love it because community colleges, you know, you get to focus on teaching. I didn't really want to get into academic research and have to do all of this stuff where to get tenure, you have to publish so much. I really just wanted to focus on teaching because that's what I'm passionate about. I really do love teaching. And so I think I am incredibly interested in continuing my job as a college professor. I feel like when I deliver the information, I tried to make it as holistic as possible when I explain the normal physiology of the human body. Since I do have more of a holistic background, not just, you know, the allopathic background, which I do have an allopathic background since I went to medical school. But, you know, I look at human physiology from a much different perspective. You know, and this is again where Rudolf Steiner comes into play. I actually was fortunate enough because my personal homeopath, his name is Dr. Rudy Versboer. He teaches a Steiner-based course on dynamic physiology. And he has been sharing these lectures with me, and I've been just taking it in, just how Steiner looked at the human body. And I did include a little bit of that in the online courses I taught with Dr. Morse, like, for instance, how the heart is not necessarily a pump. And, you know, what is it that truly moves the blood through our blood vessels? And why is it that, you know, even when the embryo is forming in the mother's uterus, you see movement of blood through the blood vessels without the heart being fully formed? So something is moving the blood other than the heart pumping it. And, you know, a muscle the size of your fist, can it really move blood through thousands of miles of blood vessels? They're very tiny blood vessels. And I think Steiner had a wisdom in knowing that we just can't understand without doing the deep spiritual work. We have to kind of go within, you know, do the various practices and meditations to develop the subtle awareness, the subtle bodies that allow us to perceive ways of life that, you know, in this physical existence, if we just stay on the physical plane, it's impossible to do so. So I hope my job or my great work as a teacher, which now is, you know, working at a brick and mortar college, which I do love. I do love the students I work with. And I'm really, you know, embracing these students because, you know, I feel bad for them. I think it's so tough to be a college student in this day and age, with just the pressures from society and especially from government. It's incredibly tough on all human beings right now. And we do need a great awakening. We do need to help people wake up to what's really going on, which again is why I think everybody, if you haven't done so already, please start watching Mark Passio's What on Earth is Happening videos and live streams and podcasts from 1 onward. You will learn so much. It's all free content that he has shared with the world. And he has a lot of his seminars are also free. And the ones that he's given out more recently, you can purchase those, but then he eventually uploads them for free. So but teaching is something I am incredibly passionate about. I love teaching. I really do. And I love interacting with other people, whether they're students or my clients, because I think everything I do, even when I'm working with clients one-on-one with health consultations, that really is just education. I'm teaching my clients how they can help their own body do what it does the best. We're not adding anything to the body. We're helping the body release so that its inner function is expressed more easily. Its inner vitality is expressed with more ease, with more flow, with more love. That's all we really need, is we need more energy moving within the human body. And I honestly believe every human body wants to heal. I tell that to my allopathic students at the Brick and Mortar Institute. The human body has one agenda, and that is to live optimally. We just need to get out of its way, because a lot of times what we do is we interfere with normal function. And once we stop doing that, the body in its infinite wisdom can get back on track to doing what it does best. So yes, as far as starting my own business, nope, I'm going to do the volunteer thing eventually once I can get the time to actually transfer everything. Right now, unfortunately, my website for people that want to book health consultations with me, and after this video is posted, I will include the link if you want to book an appointment. But right now I have a normal website with a normal account, but it's going to change to a donation-based platform. And I want to say I signed up for Noah Lakshmi's juice cleanse. If anybody wants to join me, it will start, I think, next week. I missed the introductory call. It was last Wednesday when I was teaching. Noah, if you watch me on this YouTube channel, I've done multiple discussions with her that are posted on my YouTube channel. She is a amazing, beautiful soul, but she has her own thing going on, the Soteria, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Foundation, and she's doing a juice cleanse, and she told me about it, and she asked me if I was interested in joining, because I've talked with her on the phone multiple times, and she kind of knows what I've been going through with my two animals that have passed away and some of the struggles. And when she let me know about her juice cleanse that's beginning now, I wanted to sign up because I wanted to be part of a community again, because I've been kind of in this place of isolation for the past year. You know, I don't know, and this may not be the healthiest way for me to express sadness and depression, but I kind of go in and I hide. And I just kind of wanted to not interact with others for a while, other than work and other things like that. So I'm very grateful that she shared this opportunity with me. And yeah, I'm gonna try to do a very prolonged juice cleanse. I haven't started yet. I actually was doing like 5 days of juicing, and then things got busy last week, which is why I had to postpone my first live stream back to today. And I started, consuming whole foods instead of juices, but I will get back on the juice train. I bought a bunch of stuff to juice actually this morning. So I'm really excited to do a prolonged juice cleanse. I've done, multiple cleanses, 26-day water fast back in 1998, I think, or 1997. I can't remember. So that was like my introduction to holistic health. And this was like right when I was about to leave allopathic medicine altogether. It was like the last thing I did when I was in medical school. I wanted to intern with Joel Fuhrman, and I did a 26-day water fast at his clinic. Learned a lot about natural hygiene, and that was a pivotal point. And that was something that is also, I will always remember, because it changed my course of direction. I decided not to go back to medicine, or not to continue with medicine. And then since then, I've done multiple months on nothing but fruit. I did like a 15-day lemon, like a master cleanse fast. I did that once or twice. And I've done multiple like 10-day juice cleanses, but I've never done a juice cleanse more than 10 days. So I'm really curious to see what happens if I do it prolonged. My big thing is just having the time to make the juices. That has always been the thing that's been the hardest. And last September, I was doing a 10-day juice cleanse. Well, I was doing a juice cleanse. I was going to be more than 10 days. But on day 7, I got incredibly sick. And I don't think it was, well, maybe it was a detox reaction. I don't know. But I became ill. I had a really high fever and my energy just tanked. Maybe I was cleaning something deep within and it just took me down and it made my body rest. And I had to rest. For 4 days straight, I could barely get out of the bed. I was just like so low energy. And I actually had a doctor's appointment not too long after that juice cleanse, and my white blood cell count took a dive. It was really low. And I had a really high fever, like 103. So I was only out of work for about 4 days though, and then I started feeling better and I got back to work, but I was slowly coming back into it. My energy was still kind of low for about a week after I was feeling better and my fever had subsided, but oh goodness, that was tough, and that kind of scared me a little with everything I knew about health. That reaction, I thought, man, is this a cleansing reaction that I've never known people to experience, having such a high fever? But I think it was something deeper and something else. And that's something about health that I like to share with people. Let me make sure I can see the questions on the live stream. Oh, more people are here. But yeah, that's something I like to share with healing crises and healing events. You never know what they're going to look like. But even when I experienced that starting on day 7 of my juice cleanse, I just continued with the juice cleanse because I had first and foremost already made the juices. So they were in my fridge, ready to go, because I always made juice like for 2 days at a time. So I would never run out. And so I had enough juice to last me for 3 days. And I think on day 10, I just started eating whole fruit because I just didn't have the energy to make the juice. That's how depleted I was energetically. My body just needed to rest. But yeah, I came out of it and I survived. Juicing has never really, it's not a dangerous thing for those of you that are considering it. And if you are considering it, look at Noah's juice cleanse that she is offering right now. Let me see who else has commented here. Rocky Wright and Friends is here, and she says, or he says, I just see the cute puppy picture. What are your thoughts on greens during detox? Do they decelerate detox? Well, greens in what form? Like juiced greens, I think would be beneficial during a detox. Eating the greens, they're somewhat detoxifying. They're definitely more detoxifying than eating, junk food. So, when we say detox, that's just kind of an interesting word. And I think, having had conversations with Dr. Morse recently, I think even he is kind of starting to walk away from the word detox, if you will. And he wants to use the word hydration. And I really like that idea. We need to hydrate the body. And how do you properly hydrate? With fruits. That's at the pinnacle. So greens are not as hydrating as fruits are. So in that respect, Rocky, I would say that greens are a little bit better. I'm sorry, other way around. Fruits are a little bit better than the greens to help with detoxification. Greens are after fruits, but greens are very cleansing. They're very balancing. Green is the color of the heart chakra, the middle chakra. It's the chakra of love, of balance. So I think, adding greens to your diet, I'm not going to poo-poo it. I think greens are great. You know, when I'm not juice cleansing, a typical diet, I try to get greens in every day, whether I juice them or add them to a smoothie or have a big green salad. I think greens are a wonderful daily food item. So I say go for it if you like greens. But, you know, it depends on the person too, what are their intentions for cleansing and trying to heal the body. The next question is it okay to start a juice cleanse if you haven't been eating the cleanest, vegan, mostly plant-based? Well, you know, it's good to give up certain things before you do a juice cleanse. Like I would definitely, you know, if you're taking in anything that's caffeinated, it's good to get off the caffeine, good to get off the heavier foods. So, you know, a transition diet is always helpful. I know like Professor Spira, who has annotated a lot of Arnold Ehret's books. He talks about the transition diet. The mucusless diet healing system has this transition diet. And I think that's a wonderful way to ease into any deeper cleanse, because for some people jumping into a very deep juice cleanse, especially if you haven't been eating the healthiest, it can be a little bit of a shock, which is why Ehret talks about the transition diet. And Professor Spira really, puts that out there as something to consider. So I think there is something to be said to transition into a cleanse, like a juice cleanse. And yes, thank you for letting me know that you're sorry for the loss of my animals. Yes, it's been very hard. The next question is it very deep healing going on the longer fast? And it is over, wait, let me read this right. It is very deep healing going on the longer fast, and it is overdue for one again. Oh, you're just stating that. Yes. I think that's true for me too. I need a deep cleanse, and I get excited when I talk to people that have gone on these deep cleanses. I mean, as a health coach, many of my clients have gone on prolonged juice cleanses, and I'm helping them along the way, giving them, recommendations of what they can do to help their body eliminate more easily. I think when you're juicing, it is incredibly important to have daily eliminations, because when you're pulling so much congestion out of your interstitial spaces, you need a place for that congestion to go into, to be eliminated out of the body, out of our openings, if you will, our organs of elimination, the urinary, the digestive eliminative organs. Even the skin is an eliminative organ when we sweat. So if we don't support that, those toxins that we're pulling out just get reabsorbed again. And then you get, like a healing reaction. So sometimes the healing reaction is just kind of shaking up and pulling it out in the first place. But once you pull it out, you want it out of your body. You don't want it to come back in. Rocky writes, yes, juices, greens, and smoothies. And that's another cleanse you can do, is just all liquids. You can do a mixture of juices and smoothies. I think that's a great cleanse. I'm going to be doing just nothing but juices for a minimum of 40 days, maybe longer. We'll see how my body does with that prolonged cleanse. I am teaching this summer, so I hope it doesn't make me have to pee too much, because that's the most frustrating thing, is when I'm lecturing and I have to pee. So I don't know. Excuse me. What about all of the minerals greens have that fruits don't contain? Well, that's why a balance is wonderful. Greens do have beautiful nutrients. Goodness gracious. I got a little hair in my throat. That's why I like juicing greens. That's why I like the juice cleanse overall, because I do think fruits are the optimal food for humans, just because of how well adapted human physiology is to everything that fruits represent. Like, fruits ripen when they turn a certain color. We have color vision. Fruits are incredibly hydrating. They have an abundant source of simple sugars, which we can use to produce energy. Fruits are hydrating because when the sugars are absorbed into our blood, that osmotically attracts the water, which again, as Dr. Morrissey's getting more into hydration. Hydration as being the modality to help people heal. So fruits are the pinnacle. Greens aren't as hydrating, but in the plant cells of a green leafy vegetable, there is water. The fruits are a little bit juicier in that respect, but greens are good too. But when you juice greens and you juice the fruits, that's like you're getting the hydration from both more easily. And the fiber is not interfering with the absorption. Now, don't get me wrong, fiber is great, and you're still getting a little bit of fiber in juices. Juices, when you extract, the juice from the plant, you're still getting some of the soluble fiber. It's the insoluble fiber that you're, pulling away. And that's what ends up getting discarded, or, you can use that fiber to make like crackers, and I throw all of my fiber in the compost heap and use it for my garden. But yeah, that's the beauty of juicing. I think, juicing is the best way to cleanse. And I really like thus far, I watched the replay of the intro call I missed with Noah. And I've looked at everything that she provides for her juice cleanse. She has a lot of work that she's put into this juice cleanse. So of all of the juice cleanses that are out there, and I've done juice cleansing like short, like maybe a 5-day cleanse with some of the big names out there that promote juicing. And I don't want to say any of them by name. And I think they're all great because they're doing great work. When you're helping people juice cleanse, I think that's a beautiful thing to do. But I will say of all of them, so far from what I've seen that Noah has shared with everyone, I would choose hers. I think her juice cleanse is pretty on spot. So if you have the chance, I would do it. And maybe what I'll do after I record this live stream, I'll put a link to her organization and how you can sign up for one of her juice cleanses. All right. Next question. Just Gooby gave me bad advice on fitness and his certification should be revoked. Do you know Just Gooby? I do not know Just Gooby. I apologize. I have no idea who that is. So I would not be a good person to comment on that. Do you have any advice for receding gums? I do have recommendations for dental health. One thing is I would do like a powdered based thing to brush your teeth with. I wouldn't use any of the gels because that blocks the mineralization of your teeth. As far as the receding gums, you can lightly brush the gum line, and I don't know. There are some recommendations. I'd have to go back and through my files to maybe give you better advice for the receding gums in particular. But for tooth issues or for teeth issues, I do have some recommendations, like tooth powders are better. I like oil pulling. Oil pulling might help with the receding gums as well. I do that every morning. I also do tongue scraping because I think that helps with oral health overall. But yeah, you need to have a good microbiota in your teeth and gums and tongue, all of that. I don't know if I answered your questions, but anyway, look into some of those things. What are your thoughts on medical doctors completely dismissing detox or hydration? That is snake oil and diet won't heal any issues. They said my MS, lupus, autoimmune cannot be healed or cured. Well, that's just that's not right. I mean, there are so many doctors, even in the allopathic world, that are using, nature to heal these things. Like, not that I completely 100% agree with her protocol, but I think she's doing great work. But Dr. Goldner, she has the Goodbye Lupus protocol, and she has documented that she has helped people reverse autoimmune disorders. using green smoothies. The only thing that I disagree with Dr. Goldner is that she doesn't promote the fruit enough. And I think the fruit is incredibly important because I think it's our ideal food. So she's still on that camp that fruit has too much sugar, which, I don't agree with. But everything else that she supports, I think, is amazing. And she does have good results. So look at Brooke Goldner's Goodbye Lupus program, and that might be something you might be interested in, but I would add more fruit. What is a way to get 8,000 calories a day with a vegetarian diet? What is a way to get 8,000 calories a day with a vegetarian diet? I don't think we need that many calories a day, even though I don't think calories are important, but that seems like a lot of calories. High protein elements. I don't know. I mean, there are proteins in all foods. You're even getting some protein in fruit. Protein, I think, is overrated, though, in many ways. Of the macronutrients, carbs, protein, and fat, proteins, I think they cause more problems than they do help. The human requirement for protein, I think, is not as great as the human requirement for clean carbohydrates in the form of, healthy fruits and vegetables. Now, some people might need more protein based on their specific physiology, but I sometimes caution against really high protein diets because protein, first of all, processing it, it's more taxing on the human body. There are more requirements that we need to do physiologically to break protein down. And then once it's absorbed, the liver has to deaminate the amino acids, remove the amino group, convert it to ammonia, which is slightly toxic. And then the ammonia, most of that is converted to urea, and then the kidneys have to eliminate it. So you're talking about more steps. That means more energy taken for catabolizing proteins. If you could take that energy to catabolize the protein and instead use that to go into healing, you'd be better off. So you're taking away the energy you need to heal when you have a high protein diet, in my opinion. I think that's the case. And that's something I learned from Dr. Robert Morse. All right, next question, but good question, Sarah. Thank you for asking that. Next question, I've heard so many people say they got the most mucoid plaque and parasites by juice cleansing. Yes, I think you will do that. And I learned a really awesome trick, and I'm not going to share it because this might be one of Noah's, special things with her juice cleanse, but she shared something that I was unaware of on how to get rid of parasites during the juice cleanse. And this is something that was new to me, and I've been in this, natural holistic world for a good while now. So I think that the juicing itself will help to remove the mucoid plaque because of the hydration. The fecal material that's caked on the inside of your intestinal wall, that gets hydrated with the juices, and that helps it dislodge from the intestinal lining. And then, anything that can help grab that and push it downstream is going to help. Something like GI Broom would be great. Can you provide a link to Noah's juice cleanse? I will. Let's see if I can find that right now. Let's see if I can put it in the live stream. 1 second. I'll see if I can pull it up. So, Tara, I don't know. I might have to find the email. Okay. Let's see. Well, I'll put her in the chat. I'll put the website there so that you can see her website. Online group immersions, maybe it's under that. Yeah, so go ahead and check that website because I want to get to back to some of the other questions. Sorry about the dog barking. But you should be able to find it there. And she's also on Facebook. So once you get into her website, I'm sure you can find her Facebook link as well. Okay, where did I leave off here? Oops. I have to go back because I jumped ahead. Let's see. Okay. Charlie got rid of slight receding. Oh, through oil pulling. Yeah. So Rocky was recommending about receding gums and oil pulling. And then Rocky says, I love Dr. Goldner, but she's anti-fruit. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she is kind of vegan keto, I would say. And she does use a lot of flax oil or chia seed oil because of the high omega-3 content, which, I think that if you're going to use an oil, those are good oils. But the fruit thing is really why I can't completely align with her, but I think she's doing good work, so I don't want to totally poo-poo her. Just because someone doesn't agree with you on 100% everything doesn't mean you should throw out what they're doing, because I think there are a lot of people that are doing great things to help people heal. Rocky says, I don't have lupus or MS, but I was just using it as an example. Yeah, and I think autoimmune disorders, it's an interesting diagnosis. Dr. Morse doesn't even believe in that diagnosis. I think a lot of autoimmune disorders as a whole group, if they do exist, are due to these things. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, but when you get those things into you, that triggers antibody production. And what are autoimmune diseases? It's when you have auto antibodies, quote unquote, attacking your own cells. Well, when you're, stimulating excessive antibody production, they're probably going to attack many things or bind to many things and cause these inflammatory reactions, which there's a lot of inflammation, obviously, with autoimmune disorders. Sarah writes, I have cystic fibrosis. These are the requirements for my system, or it will literally starve no matter what I eat, and I don't digest or absorb normally. Oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Yes, and I remember you stating that you had cystic fibrosis. So high protein, I'd have to look into that and see. I think if it's being recommended that you need higher protein requirements, and I apologize for the dogs. I mean, plant-based proteins are definitely less inflammatory than the animal-based proteins. And with animal protein, you're getting a lot of toxicity. I was just having a discussion with my veterinarian about my dog who was sick last month. And she was just sharing with me, diets for dogs. But, if you do choose to give your dogs or cats animal products, you definitely want to get them always organic because of the toxicity that animals accumulate in their tissues. So plant-based proteins, you're not going to be accumulating that toxicity, but it's always good to get organic protein regardless. Organic is going to be at least a little less toxic or less toxic, I should say. But 8,000 calories a day, I have never heard of a diet recommended at that amount. I would have to look at that. That's a lot of calories. I mean, I guess you can do it, but I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks, when people have issues absorbing nutrients, the first thing that comes to mind is a juice cleanse would heal the gut lining and help with absorption. And what's scary about that, when somebody may be depleted, is that when you juice cleanse, when you do a cleanse of any type, you're pulling a lot of stuff out of you, and sometimes you get really thin. But with that said, and I've seen this, Dr. Morse has seen this, people cleansing who get really thin on the same diet that they use to cleanse, their body at some point makes a shift and then they start rebuilding and then they get big. They build muscle more easily. Their tissues expand, and that's because they've cleansed their intestinal tract enough that absorption is enhanced. And once they start absorbing, the amino acids, these simple sugars, then they can start building more easily. So that would be something that you would have to take time to consider. So is your situation at a point where you could do maybe a cleanse and just drink a ton of juice, like, 2 gallons of juice a day? Like when I'm doing this juice cleanse, I'm going to aim for a gallon a day, mostly because I teach. It's hard for me to drink and talk to students simultaneously. And plus, when I drink a lot of juice, it makes me have to pee, obviously. And I can't be walking out of my classroom, every hour because my classes in the summer are 3 hours long and we take a 15-minute break in the middle. So I just have to kind of time it like that. And plus, I'm in my 50s. I don't need a lot of calories. So my calorie requirements are much lower because of my age. And, I'm not out there running marathons. I can't even run because I have a metal ankle because I fell rock climbing. But I think if you get a lot of juices in, I've heard people, get in multiple gallons of juice on a juice cleanse, and it's been amazing for them. They have amazing energy. They don't lose a lot of weight. Some people actually gain weight on a juice cleanse because that's what their body needs. Your body is so incredibly intelligent that it will take the good source of nutrition and use it in the most wise way possible. So we just kind of have to trust the body, but sometimes it does go through these scary transitions where you lose a lot of weight and you get kind of thin. But that could be, one of the results. I'm over my time. Let me just check on my producer so he knows. Okay. I'm probably still not on the One Great Work Network, but I am still going to continue with this live stream since it's my first time back in a while. All right. Let's see. Next question. I've seen healthy people, at least on paper, know, you know what, get autoimmune diseases like healthy one day and bedbound the next. It's so strange. I've seen healthy people. Okay. Healthy people know. I don't know if I understood that, Rocky, with what you wrote there. So you're saying people get autoimmune diseases without getting injected? I mean, I think, yeah, they do. Autoimmune diseases can be caused by other things, but I just think there's a greater chance of getting an autoimmune disease if you get one of those as opposed to not. That's at least what I've seen with clients that have come to see me and some of the things that they've been diagnosed with. And Sarah's saying that she doesn't produce, with cystic fibrosis, one of the issues is not just with the lungs, it's with the pancreas, and the pancreatic enzymes are deficient. So I'm not I don't know, Sarah, do you take any enzymes? I'm curious if you take any replacements for what your pancreas is not producing, or if you're being recommended to do such a thing. Creative Heart says, what juices are you doing? I was thinking green and fruit, 2 huge ones of each per day. Creative Heart, are you in Noah's juice cleanse? But the juices I plan on doing, what I like is I like the lemon ginger blast that Lou Corona is famous for putting out. And I think I've seen multiple versions of the lemon ginger blast. I just basically put parsley and cilantro in my green juices with some ginger and lemon and a couple of apples, and then cucumber and celery. So those. And if I don't have parsley and cilantro, I might throw in kale or dandelion greens or some sort of greens, maybe some spinach. But I do 2 green juices, 32 ounces each. And then I like to do 2 citrus-based juices because those are very astringent. So like maybe orange pineapple, or I don't know. I am on this orange pineapple kick. I was at the health food store this morning and they had some amazingly beautiful smelling pineapples. I bought a bunch of them. You know, when you can take a pineapple and smell it and it just smells so ripe, I was so excited about that. And then I also found a bunch of Valencia oranges. Valencia oranges are the oranges you want for juicing because they give you the most juice per orange. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that on there. And thank you for welcoming me back, Creative Heart. Next question. Yes, it is a fact that I experienced myself after starting this healing fruits, greens, juices journey from 180 down to 120 and now back to 170. Wow. So I'm glad that you shared that. Yeah, people will lose a lot of weight on a juice cleanse, but gain it all back if that's what their body needs. And it's just the body in its infinite wisdom knows how to do that. Creative Heart likes orange, pineapple, carrot. I'll have to try that. I've never added carrot, but I have a bunch of carrots in my fridge. Again, I bought a bunch of things for juicing this week. Tad is here, Journey to Wellville. Please explain to all the listeners how there is no organ system that's called the immune system. We have a natural immunity from the beneficial bacteria in our intestines and a lymphatic system. Yes, the immune system, as they call it, is really part of the lymphatic system. So even in conventional teaching, when I teach about immunity per se, I discuss it in connection with the lymphatic system. Because the lymphatic system is really doing the work of helping to, protect our health and whatnot. But I like your, stating there, Tad, that our real natural immunity is highly connected to beneficial bacteria. There are more beneficial bacteria cells in our body than our human cells. And I have no idea what my dogs are barking out, but we may have to end the live stream in maybe 15 minutes because I might have to take the dogs outside. But yes, we have a lot of healthy bacteria in our intestinal tract, in our lymph nodes, and they are doing a lot of beneficial things for us. We live in a symbiotic relationship with these beautiful beings, and their diversity is important because they can create certain vitamins for us. They prevent pathogenic things from growing out of control. They keep things in balance. When people say you have an infection, it's just because you have an imbalance of these bacteria. You want to keep the balance such that they are working symbiotically, like I said, with you. But yeah, our lymphatic system is a sewer system, and like the sewers in public utilities, they use bacteria to cleanse waste products out of the body. And that's what we need them to do, to cleanse, to detoxify. Again, we're getting away from the word detoxify and using the word hydration, but that's what is most important, are these beneficial bacteria. So thank you for sharing that, because that is what our best way to protect ourselves is to make sure we have a good diversity of these bacteria. And we grow these bacteria in the correct symbiotic relationship with what our body needs by eating a species appropriate diet. So we feed them with the plant foods. I mean, they feed on a lot of the fiber we don't have enzymes to digest. And that's the gut bacteria in particular. So hopefully, Tad, I talked about that in a way that helped a little bit without going too crazy with that topic. But I love the immune system. There's other things you can get more technical about with the immune system, but really it does come back down to those healthy gut bacteria. They are so important. Sarah says, thank you for the information. I know it's a hard one. I've been working on trying to figure out a diet that is at least vegetarian, limiting meat intake to a minimum. Yeah, and if you're going to eat meat, I mean, I think, like I said, get it organic. That is so important. Just because of the amount of bioaccumulation of the toxins. And, another thing I was talking about my vet today, because we were talking about it in reference to my dog, but, now they're going to be injecting the livestock with these messenger RNA, what's, and that's kind of scary to think you might be taking in that, by eating the meat products. So that's another, reason why I think plant foods are so beneficial, but you're on the right track, and it's a transition for everybody. You don't have to jump into 100% plant-based, right? You're on the right track. You're headed in the right direction. So good job there. Creative Heart says, oh my gosh, ripe pineapple is the unicorn outside of Hawaii. I know. I wish I lived in Hawaii to get fresh pineapple. But, when you can find it. I also found, believe it or not, amazing jackfruit when I went to the store today. That's what I had for my breakfast this morning, and it was the best jackfruit I had ever had. And I lived in Florida and ate jackfruit in Florida, but I don't know what my health food store, how they got all of this amazing fruit, but I'm excited that I got it. I was able to get it. All right. So you are welcome, Sarah. As far as, getting let me come back to your question. Yeah, figuring out a diet, like I said, if it's an absorption issue, maybe try a juice cleanse with a lot of juice, like 8 32-ounce juices a day, and see how that works. Because you're getting calories, right? You're just getting them in an easy to assimilate or an easy to absorb form. And it might cleanse your colon a little bit to help you absorb a little bit better. So it's something to look into. Don't be afraid of the juice cleanse, even if, you think you might lose weight. You won't, because people have gained weight on juice cleanses if that's what their body needs. In Brazil, I ate pineapple core which melted in the mouth. Oh my goodness. I've never ate pineapple core, but when I juice pineapple, I throw the core in there. But man, if it melts in your mouth, I can't even imagine. You are lucky. Charlie writes, it's unfortunate how doctors prescribe antibiotics so casually without a second thought. And yeah, thinking about what Tad mentioned with regards to our true immune system, the bacteria that live in our gut and in our lymph nodes, we don't want to kill those workers. They're doing so much good for us. And Tad writes, that's why it's important to avoid sterilizing agents like bleach, Lysol, antibacterial soap. That is so true. And that antibacterial lotion they have everywhere. Oh my goodness. It's like, why do we want to hurt these little beings that are just trying to love us to health? Charlie writes, I've tried telling people to be careful with antibiotics, and it seems to fall on deaf ears. Well, it's because of fear. So many people are controlled by fear, and they think that they need these killing toxins to get healthy. It doesn't make sense. The powers that should not be really did a mind F with us all, getting us to think that antibiotics and antivirals and all of these anti things are going to help us express love and life. And it does just the opposite. So anyway, folks, I am so glad to be back, and I will be back here every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I thank you all that joined me on the live stream. If you're watching the replay, I will post links below this video. I will post Noah's juice cleanse I posted her website in the chat box, but I'll try to find the more specific link if you want to join her juice cleanse. I'm in it, so I'm excited to be there. Noah's the one running it. I am not running it. I am just joining as a participant. So that is my intention, is to benefit from working with all of the beautiful people that are in that juice cleanse and sharing their experiences in a very loving way. But thank you all for being here. I missed you all dearly. Thank you for welcoming me back. And it's good to be back. And I'll answer one more question. Creative Heart asks, what are your thoughts on detoxification just using food without the herbs? Are the herbs really necessary? I know they accelerate, but I feel they can be harsh at times, especially the alcohol-based ones. Well, in reality, all you really need is the food. I mean, that's number one. Even Dr. Morse will say that. Dr. Morse will say the diet is foundational. It really is. The herbs are there for a reason. And if you're working with like a detox specialist or someone that is well versed with the herbs, then you can find a protocol that might help you. And you don't need to use the alcohol-based herbs. I mean, there are glycerins, there are the powders. But one thing that I have been getting into recently, and I'll just end with this, is I've been studying something called biogeometry at the Vesica Institute, where I'm learning about spiritual science and the works of Rudolf Steiner. And I've been learning something called physical radiesthesia, where it's kind of like muscle testing, where you can kind of determine like what types of herbs or homeopathic remedies or whatever you want to use as a healing aid to your journey is most beneficial for your body. And so you have like this subtle energy that these devices can pick up on. It's kind of like a pendulum, if you will. I think I have it here. Ooh, where is it? Yeah. So here is, sorry, I was sitting down and my foot fell asleep. But this is called the ICUP pendulum. And it was designed by the person that developed biogeometry, Ibrahim Karim, who I've been studying. And this pendulum, you just kind of put it in front of like something you want to test, and it will, vibrate. It will, turn clockwise, counterclockwise, and just go into a search position. And I've been learning this, and I've been kind of using it somewhat to determine beneficial herbal remedies for myself, for my dogs. I'm not an expert, and I do not use this in my consultations. If I did, it would just be a FYI, not part of what I would definitely recommend. But I think it's something to learn about, because there's so much to healing that if we just stay on the physical level of things, we're missing out on. I think we need to expand to these different energies that are all around us. And there are subtle energies, etheric, astral, that we can pick up information upon to best align with what is going to help us heal. So with that said, great to see you again, Tad. And then Creative Heart says, are you adding your link to the description of this if anybody would like to work with me? Yeah, I always, after I do a live stream, I typically, when I republish it to my main YouTube channel, I include all of the links if people do want to connect with me. So I will do all of that. And then Charlie writes, are there less expensive juicers? I think you want to get a juicer that's not a centrifugal juicer that, can heat up and denature the nutrients. So anything that's kind of just extracting the juices, like the slow masticating juicers are usually the best. They kind of squeeze the juice out. There was one juicer somebody shared in Noah's group that I think was a lot cheaper, but a juicer like that. And I think I didn't look at the link they shared because I bought a Nama J2 last year, which I really like, mostly because it's so quick to make the juices and I don't have a lot of time. But the Nama J2 is a bit expensive. But this was kind of like the Nama J2, smaller, but I think it was a really good juicer. So maybe if I find that link, I will share it also underneath this video after I re-upload it. And I don't know if it'll go up today, but it will definitely be there tomorrow. I can work on that tomorrow. All right. So I'm going to end this now. And let's see, my producer, yep, he hasn't got back to me. So I don't know if this is still going on Twitch or not. But anyway, it was good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. And I will see you next Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Have a good week. Bye.